talk about promoting sustainability in the warehouse environment, I'm joined by Mark McCleary, Chief Technology Officer with Lucas Systems. Hi, Mark.
Hi, how's it going, Robert?
Good, and thank you so much for being with me today. Mark, what is the trend as you see it in the consumption of materials such as paper and cardboard in the warehouse environment?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rob. Uh, the trend for the last 60 or so years has been increasing in the amount of cardboard and paper that's used in the packaging of materials during shipment. It's eye-watering to see how much material the consumers are getting when things are shipped. I know personally, when I order things online and they arrive, or you get deliverables, they often are, excessive amounts of cardboard and packing material, and it will fill up my recycling bin, almost on a daily basis.
Yeah. Okay, but despite this, or maybe even because of it, are we seeing a simultaneous trend toward an emphasis on green warehousing and sustainable logistics?
Absolutely. It's across the board within the industry, not only from a packaging, but just in green initiatives in general. You see a lot of emphasis around clean energy, for example, in the warehousing and distribution industry, but with a focus on packaging, bringing together smart things like cartonization, intelligent ways to fulfill truck loading and those sorts of things really do have a sizable impact on the amount of material that is shipped from the distribution center. And so there's a lot of emphasis right now on the use of artificial intelligence and smart algorithms that can help improve these processes, leveraging computer vision, for example, to be able to visualize how material is being packed into a box or being packed onto a truck, and to be able to optimize that in real time, where previously that was often done by an expert who had a lot of familiarity with the process, but often, given the rapid pace and increase in supply chain, things have just gotten beyond that, and often you see a lot of air being shipped and a lot of insufficient truck loading practices.
Yeah, but we saw how well that quote unquote expertise, did for us up to this point. Although I don't know if this is just my imagination, but it seems to me, you can say yes or no to this, if there indeed has been a little bit of progress in terms of getting something from Amazon, little tiny object in a gigantic box. I take it still happens, but do you think maybe there's some improvement in that area?
Yeah, my personal experience with kind of the Amazon factor in terms of packaging, I think it depends on the seasonality. I think if you look now during, Black Friday, and as you come towards the end of the year, where you expect a lot or a large increase in items being shipped from Amazon, you do see a decline in, smart packaging to reduce material. Just here recently, over the last week, ordering, things for Christmas for my children, I am getting large boxes with small material in it.
Still happening then.
Rewind a couple months ago, and no, absolutely not. So I think something has to do with, the amount of volume that's going through, how urgent they're trying to get shipments out. And it certainly shouldn't be an excuse to give up on sustainability. And I think this is where technology really can help maintain that pace of delivery without sacrificing on sustainability.
I want to talk a little bit more about technology in a moment, but I'm just wondering though, is there some reluctance? I can see like a warehouse environment, which up to this point has survived on just a very limited number of package forms of cardboard sizes, which is very efficient. Maybe, I don't know how many, but just as few as possible. Now we're asking supposedly that a much larger range of size and packaging in order to better accommodate the actual size of the contents. Might there be some understandable reluctance on the part of warehouses to move in that direction because they're afraid it's actually going to cost them more?
I think so. Many of our customers, when I go around and I look at their packing facilities in operation, there still is this tendency to lean towards a fixed amount of carton sizes. Predominantly, it may be because they have existing systems, or they have existing personnel they've trained, and they have that expertise built in to know approximately how many items could go into that existing container. So there is a reluctance from that perspective. I'm not sure there's a cost impact. I would hope that if you're able to maximize the amount of material that goes into the packaging, that over time you're actually minimizing the cost because you're getting a more efficient use of the cardboard, with the expectation cardboard boxes, albeit differences in size, you're legitimately paying for how much cardboard you're purchasing.
Yeah. Well, there's always that concern about the upfront cost, even though it's going to lead to lower costs down the road. The idea is how much are you spending at this very moment and whether you have support from management to take that longer view. Tell me more, Mark, about artificial intelligence, about more precisely about how it's being applied to packaging optimization and, for that matter, any other kind of green movement within warehouses today.
Yeah, I think with regards to packaging, you're seeing the application of AI in new and interesting ways that weren't explored previously with the complex mathematical algorithms that went into something, like cartonization, for example, or pallet building. And so you're seeing not only an improvement in those technologies, you're able to get, better efficiency, better packing, maybe a better built pallet, but it's being done much faster and more consistently. Where you're not necessarily needing to depend on the expertise of your warehouse personnel, which we all know, warehouse personnel, it's often a big issue to get people who are not only able there and working, but have sustained their time with a company to build up that expertise. And so
Yeah.
this is allowing people to come in with little to no experience in these types of operations and leverage AI to help them very efficiently do these processes where previously, there may be ramp up or training time. You may have to leverage another system that's not as quick. Beyond packaging, one area is just on artificial intelligence is being used to optimize a lot of the operational processes that you see in the warehouse, ranging from finding shorter paths for people to travel, being able to intelligently do things like audit processes. All of that ends up resulting in a lot less waste, reduces costs for the warehouse, and ultimately has some impact on sustainability. Taking less energy, there's less cycle time that has to be done in the warehouse. It could result in fewer packages even.
How far are we along, though? I mean, I don't know if generative AI plays a role here or just general AI. How long has AI been playing any kind of a role in this area, and how do you see it going forward in the future?
Yeah, I think we're right at the precipice of really AI being used across the board. I think over maybe the last decade, you saw spots where people were coming up with intelligent algorithms. They may have been leveraging AI and machine learning to help them through these processes. But today it's becoming much more ubiquitous. You see a lot of these products and availability of AI almost as a service or a commodity that warehouses and technology providers can utilize as a tool in the toolbox to help them be more efficient and effective. And I think that's the biggest aspect of it. No longer is it the black magic that only the big companies can afford, and you have to have a managed team of scientists to help you wrangle it down. You're seeing a lot of the smaller distribution centers now start to approach AI and really embrace it as a mechanism to help them be more efficient.
So it's a lot more complex than this idea of saying, my product is this big and I need a box this big. That seems pretty simple, a pretty simple calculation, but you're saying it goes well beyond that in terms of complexity, are you not?
Yeah, it absolutely does. On the surface, I was just having a conversation with one of the CMU students earlier this week. And, at first light, it does look that simple, but then you take into account things like compressibility, for example. If you're in the apparel business and you think about the cubic dimensions of a piece of clothing, but then how that could be folded, how that could be compressed. Books are another area, typically their volume could be compressed. And then on the flip side of that, if you look from maybe grocery distribution and pallet building or containers that they may use, there may be weight restrictions. There may be items that are more fragile than others. We talk a lot about building a base when you're building a pallet. Certainly in the grocery and distribution business there, you don't want to put your eggs on the bottom and then stack up canned goods on top of it. So it's these types of inputs and complexities that really take it to another level when you start to look at it, especially in the dynamic nature of the warehouse where, things can change rapidly, types of orders, types of customers, types of products and SKU mix.
Tell me about your new research partnership with Carnegie Mellon University in this area and what you hope to achieve by it.
Yeah, we have a strong partnership and have had for many years, being located here in Pittsburgh. Great relationship with Carnegie. Specifically over the last year, we've been working on a cartonization and sustainability project and research around this topic, notably to look at innovative ways we can leverage AI and visualizations to address this issue with, poor packaging, being able to maximize and have an efficient process that not only reduces the amount of cartons and cardboard that you're shipping, but also can make it much more optimized, thereby, reducing the burden on labor, maybe making the processes in terms of cycle time more effective, so you're shipping faster. And we really believe this is an opportunity that's ripe for the taking. Like I said, you still see a bit of the Amazon factor depending on the seasonality. This is something we're excited about, and so is Carnegie.
Thank you so much, Mark, for helping us to address this really crucial issue about green logistics and sustainability and packaging in the warehouse environment. I do want to take a moment, though, to ask you about Lucas Systems specifically. Who are you guys, and how do you fit into this whole picture?
Yeah, Lucas has been in the warehousing and distribution industry for 25 years. We're going on 26 now. A great company. They've been located here in Pennsylvania since the beginning, and we have a large number of big clients, people you would recognize across almost the entire industry. If you look in those verticals, healthcare, consumer goods, industrial supplies, food distribution. And so coupled along with kind of that legacy of expertise, we also have a very compelling optimization platform that's led by our AI, Jennifer. We've had Jennifer for a long time. It is a voice-directed interaction with our AI, similar to what you would find with Siri or Alexa or others. And it really does make the processes in the warehouse much more effective, not only from voice interaction, which allows you to be safe, hands-free, eyes-free, but we apply a lot of complex optimization and leverage the use of AI to take those seemingly trivial processes like picking or replenishment or truck loading or packing and make sure that you're maximizing the amount of effort that goes into it to reduce costs, reduce the need for labor, and hopefully here with this cartonization and project with CMU, reduce the amount of resources such as cardboard and paper.
Mark McCleary of Lucas Systems, thanks again so much for joining me in this important discussion about green logistics in the warehouse and telling me a little bit about Lucas Systems as well. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. It was a pleasure.